Merry Christmas, everyone. I am Mrs. Claus, and I am so delighted to be here with you today, even though we're far apart. We're going to have a magical time together with a very special Christmas story. I hope you're all snuggled up and ready because I'll be reading a heartwarming story called Socks for Christmas by my favorite Andy Andrews. It's one of my favorite stories, and I think you'll love it too. So, get cozy and let's dive right into this wonderful Christmas tale. This story is so special because it reminds us all of the true spirit of Christmas. So, let's begin. And here are some excerpts from Socks for Christmas by Andy Andrews. There are 24 hours in a day, only 24. That translates to 1,440 minutes or 86,400 seconds every single day of my adult life. December, end of December, specifically the night of the 24th, was Christmas Eve, and the clock slowed down. I'd gone to bed at 9 p.m. after leaving a note, pound cake, and a glass of buttermilk for Santa Claus. I hated the stuff, but since my father drank the buttermilk by the gallon, I assumed he knew it was okay. By 10:30, I was still awake. I was mentally tracing Santa's route to our house at 1505 Randall Street. It's not likely that he would have gotten me presents twice, but I knew that every kid was thinking about where he was on Christmas Eve. Earlier, I had heard on the local news that Santa's sleigh had been tracked on radar leaving Thailand, and I thought he was then not too far from Mississippi, which was the next state to us. In any case, that's why I went to bed at 9 p.m. 11 o'clock, I wasn't even sleepy. I could smell the Christmas tree from my bedroom. I had always thought my dad had a strong argument for keeping the tree up all year by pointing out that the needles had fallen off the tree, but that did not necessarily mean it was dead. The tree itself stretched 50 feet in the air. The fact that it really only had an 8-foot ceiling cast a shadow of doubt on my recollection of this particular point. But you get the idea. It was a big tree. A blue spruce was more aromatic, which was the same kind of tree that Jesus had as a boy, and he exclaimed, "Wouldn't get sap all over the carpet like a stinking Scotch pine." Family traditions dictated that we make our own decorations. And one year I hung a toilet paper brush from the bathroom and no one noticed it for days. At 12:01 a.m. it was technically Christmas, but I knew better than to venture into the living room. I was to stay in bed until Mom and Dad came to get me. Besides, I didn't want to blow the whole deal. Now, there was no way I was going to sleep. I just wouldn't. Heck, I'd already been awake for a week. I'll just stick it out till daylight. Son, my father shook me. I opened my eyes. Santa, he said, has been here. Ignoring the fact that I had indeed gone to sleep, I jumped out of bed and ran to the living room. Now I could get the incredible edible machine and I could make bugs to eat in front of my sister. But where was my BB gun? I have my Candyland game, baseball glove, G.I. Joe. My BB gun must be one of the wrapped presents. But it wasn't. Neither was the electric football game I wanted. Socks. I got socks from Aunt Ruth. Who wanted socks? What kind of Christmas presents was socks? I had socks. I had a drawer full of socks. I was not pleased. All in all, however, my haul was impressive. I had scored on some of the main things I wanted, and if I didn't get to think about the clothes, and especially the socks, I was very, very happy. Before too long, the most important part of Christmas was at hand. My dad was asleep in the recliner, Mom was in the kitchen, and I was now free to compare loot with my friends. My first stop was a house 2 doors down. Johnny Hamilton had gotten a bicycle. It had a tiger-striped banana seat and spider handlebars. Roger Lofton had gotten the electric football game I had wanted. Roger had also received the Rock'em Sock'em robots. We didn't play with them because, thanks to his little brother Stuart, they were already broken. Danny Foster's dad was a doctor. They lived across Cherokee Avenue in another neighborhood. I hated going to Danny's house that morning because I know he got tons of things for Christmas. I stayed at Danny's house for more than an hour. Danny really knew how to show a kid a good time. We dug a hole in the vacant lot next door and put the box from the trampoline over it. It was a great fort. Walking home, I was imagining Christmas dinner. I felt sure that we'd have the same wonderful meal that we had had years before. Turkey and dressing with cranberry sauce, sweet potato casserole, peas, corn, pickled peaches, and homemade rolls. I walked faster. Rounding the corner behind the Vine and Olive Motel, I saw Timmy Johnson and his sister Barbara tossing an old tennis ball in their front yard. They didn't seem to have many friends. Even at lunchtime, they would go out on the playground to swing from the jungle gym or just talk. They never went with us into the cafeteria and never brought a sack lunch. The Lofton boys said it was because they were snobs. I thought maybe that was so too. "Hi, Timmy," I said as I approached. "What'd you get for Christmas?" "I got everything I wanted except a BB gun and an electric football game." They continued tossing the ball back and forth. Thinking he didn't hear me, I tried again. "Hey, show me what you got for Christmas." Never looking at me, Timmy mumbled, I got these shoes." I could see the shoes he had received, big, black, hard leather shoes that looked as if they might belong to my grandfather, but they were shined, polished, and tied directly into his feet. Barbara had on a pair that didn't appear to be dramatically different. I had never seen either of them with anything other than tennis shoes. Once Timmy was sent home from school for showing up barefooted. After that, he was absent for a week. Watching them continue to throw the ball, I noticed something not quite right. I said, "That's not the way you're supposed to wear those shoes." The ball fell to the ground. As they turned to face me, Barbara said, "What do you mean by that? We're wearing them just as you are on your feet." She looked mad. I tried to explain myself. Yeah, that's right," I stammered. "But you're not wearing socks. You're supposed to wear socks with those kind of shoes." For a moment, we stared at each other. Then, without warning, Timmy started crying and ran inside. Barbara called me a name and ran after him. I stood there a few minutes, wondering what I had done. I even knocked on their door. No one answered, so I went home. When I arrived home, I told my parents what had happened with Timmy and Barbara. I told them exactly what I'd said. My mom had tears running down her cheeks as my dad picked me up and carried me to my bedroom. I thought I was about to get a spanking, but instead, he hugged me. He told me about why Danny Foster got big presents and why I didn't get an electric football game. Gently, he explained to me about Santa Claus and buttermilk, and then wiping the tears from my face, he told me why my friends didn't wear socks with their shoes. I now remember the day as an awakening. I had never known there were families without enough to eat. Amid all the decorations and songs and parties surrounding our most magical holiday, it had never occurred to me that some parents might do without the luxury of socks for their children simply because they couldn't afford them. Many holiday seasons have passed since that year Timmy and Barbara moved away, while I was in 4th grade. I never saw them again, but I have never forgotten that Christmas. Wherever I live, there will always be people in my own neighborhood who are in some way less fortunate than I. And to this day, there is one Christmas gift I treasure above all others, the gift of a pair of socks. If you like the socks for Christmas and you want to read more, go to andyandrews.com. He's got amazing books. I wish we had time to read more of the book, but you can find it on Amazon or my friend CJ Corki's website. Imagine getting socks for Christmas. But sometimes it's the simplest gifts that mean the most, especially when given with love. Now that we've finished a part of our story, how about a little adventure? Imagine we're walking through Santa's workshop. Can you hear the tinkering of the elves as they build the toys? Ooh, and over here, it's the kitchen. It's filled with the smell of freshly baked gingerbread. Just like in Socks for Christmas, we know that Christmas is about so much more than just toys. Now, let's head over to the reindeer stables. Look, there's Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen all getting ready for their big night. And there's Rudolph with his shiny red nose. He's making sure it's extra bright for Christmas Eve. The reindeers are so excited, and the elves are feeding them magical reindeer food so they'll be ready to fly all night long. Isn't that something? At the North Pole, we have a very special Christmas tradition. Just like in the story, it's the small things that mean the very most. Every year, Santa and I make cookies for all the elves and hang our stockings by the fireplace. And of course, we love to sing carols together. Do you have any traditions that you look forward to every year? What do you think? You know, with Christmas just around the corner, things are very, very, very busy here at the North Pole. Santa and the elves are hard at work, and the reindeer are practicing their flying. But we're making sure that everything is ready for a wonderful Christmas for you. I hope you're all as excited as we are. But I want you to remember to enjoy this season with kindness and joy, just like the story reminded us. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, the spirit of Christmas is in each and every one of you. Merry Christmas, and may your holiday be filled with magic and love. Santa and I send big hugs from the North Pole. Merry Christmas, everyone. And as Santa would say, ho, ho, ho. Goodbye.